Sunday, the 25th of August, and it's time I tried a bit of an experimental honing. I'm at the moment honing 3 interesting razors. I'm starting off by admitting to the fact that all 3 are salvage jobs. I had to put a lot of work into them in the workshop. This is a prime example. This little fellow is actually very good steel. It's an early Tory from America. It actually had a huge nick in the blade. I got it relatively cheap off a gentleman vendor on eBay, but of course the postage from America to here is extortionate. Anyway, I was only going to mention a few little points, which is, 1, if you've got a big chip in your blade, bread knife it. Bread knife it on your diamond plate. That will of course true up the edge and get rid of the chip. I have actually used quite a few bits of black tape on a couple of them. This one I haven't. This one I haven't because it was already, I used the French expression, it was already quite buggered, having chipped in the edge and it had been rusted. But it's come up quite well, and I've got great faith in early American razors. I think they're actually very, very good. So I just want to show you a couple of tricks. One is this is a 1K, I will show you the box. That's a 1000 grit, cheap Japanese kingstone. I would suggest you raise up a slurry, as I do, and it really, really cuts. This is very near its final test. So as you can probably hear, this is mostly water now, very little slurry. I've already taken a great deal of steel off, and at first I applied the tape because I didn't want a huge amount of hone wear. The only thing is with tape, it very quickly wears through on a very coarse stone, and of course when you go afterwards you do get a compound bevel on your final edge. But setting the bevel, you can change your mind halfway through the process. It's not going to make a lot of difference. So it started off with tape, and now it's without tape. I've actually got in the workshop, I managed to get the rather huge nick out of the edge, and of course I haven't bothered trying to render all of the rust stains out, not on a $20 or in my case 50 quid razor. However, here's a little test. Do excuse the fact I've been working all morning and my nails are disgusting. Yep. Right, sacrificial tomato. Yeah, not bad at all. That's good enough, actually. It is the best test you can do. The nail test will tell you very accurately any spots you've missed. It won't give you the degree that it can cut. If you've got enough hair, lucky you. You can perhaps try a hair test on your leg and perhaps cut an archery. However, with a little tomato, you get an extremely accurate cut because it's not a push cut as people do, like the great Bill M and of course Eric at the Cajun Blade. They tend to do a push test, which is fine, but this test is, I know I've done both, this test is just extraordinarily accurate. Anyway, enough of that. So I've got 3 razors which have been ground and honed now to a 1K edge. So next trick, let me show you what they are. This is me being naughty. This was an extremely nice, well it still is an extremely nice French razor. It's the Officer by Leon Pelleray of Paris. But, and here's the big but, the reason I'm mentioning it is it had a good old warp in the blade. I've done a very naughty thing, chaps. What I've done is I thought, shall I tape it and carefully angle away so that I can bypass the rather extreme warp, or do I do it the naughty way and actually whack the crap out of it, which I did. So I've actually put quite a bit of hone wear on to remove the warp, but now at least it is an even bevel. So this one's all ready to go. Anyway, last but not least, the other one is one which I've kept the tape on. That's a beautiful little German razor. It's the Amour. It's actually a cute razor, but again, it did have a couple of very major faults in it on the edge, and those have been rectified. It's only a 5/8. It's probably now a sub 5/8, but never mind. Anyway, let's now remove this horrendously coarse stone. I do think that as a bevel setter, a 1K is probably wise. Even so, it took me quite a long time to get rid of the major faults, because once you've really cut into the steel to get rid of a deep, very deep nick, you need this. Anyway, I'll put this one to dry. The reason I've spent Sunday morning doing this is because I couldn't very well skate. It's blowing a gale out there, and last Sunday I had a good old prang. I hit my skating companion, and he stayed upright and I went down. So there you go. Anyway, enough of that crap. Now we go on to the Nanoir, my favourite midway stone. This is a 3K stone. You can bevel set on it quite happily if you've got an undamaged razor. If the razor has just a blunt edge, but if you've got a damaged edge, no. 3K is completely and utterly useless. You do need to go to 1K, and even then, quite a long time. So let's see how this little fellow, this little Tory, behaves. Let's try, first of all, a few strokes on this lovely 3K Nanoir, and immediately you've got trace swarf on the stone. Look at that. That's about 3 laps and already the stone's going black. So 3K will remove sufficient metal to get rid of the 1K scratches. I'm using 2 hands because it's quite a small, delicate blade, but I think I'm right in saying this won't take much to go from 1K to 3K. So I'm not going to bore you for very long, because the latter part of this triple honing, I'll put the my recording on pause if I can, because I'm technically pretty inept, but oh, that's very good. Right, let's call that one 3K. Let's take this very fine French beast, which is, as I said, without tape. So this one again needs to be refined from 1K gently to 3K before we take it to 5K, then 8K, and then hopefully I'm going to give you a treat, chaps. I'm going to use a Welsh slate of a name I can't pronounce because it's Welsh. But it is fun because it's a very fine finisher, and I'm rather keen to use it because we did Scottish the other day, which was enormously successful. That was the Dalmore Blue, which is a medium coarse stone, followed by the Tam O'Shanter, which is quite a good finishing stone. I was surprised. It gave an extremely good shave, but then it was on a very nice American early razor. So I'm going to say, even though everybody's going to shout at me and say no, but I'm going to say that that one is also now probably happily down to 3K. Here's my final piece. This is a celluloid. Isn't that beautiful? Little celluloid razor. I've got the box for it as well. This is the Amour, and this has got quite clearly an Amore stamp on it, and it says Wilhelm Noel. That's a strange one. Is it? Wilhelm Noel. I think it's Noel, yeah. Solingen, Wald, Germany. So this one is worth saving. Let's get this one quickly down to 3K. And then we'll go 5K, 8K, which I won't bore you with, because once you've seen one person honing, you've seen them all. This is more a series of steps to go finally to quite a fine finisher. I'm toying with 2 different finisher stones today. Hopefully I'll be able to halt this tiresome video and show you. This was more how you go from a wrecked edge to a refined bevel set. And I think you'll agree that's a fair old amount of swarf on there from these 3 razors. Already the bevel was set. This is just refining. So let's see one more time. Ooh, grippy, grippy, grippy. Yeah. No need to test, but I will, because I like tomatoes. Yep. Only the lightest pull. You'll not get a push test on a tomato. It doesn't work like that. But the very lightest, and you'll find it does cut. And that's my gold seal of approval. Anyway, I'm going to call that done. I'm going to call them all down approximately. I'm not going to kill the edge. If you noticed, I was using edge leading. Excuse me, I had a large breakfast with my friend Hisham, the barber. Yeah, edge leading, that won't give you a nasty wire edge. If you're edge leading, no wire edge. Anyway, I know a lot of you guys, I'm speaking to the converted, I'm speaking to people who have far more insight than I do into stones. But for those who I hope are watching my little channel and want to start off in the wonderful occupation of straight razor shaving, you do need a few stones, but once you've got them, they'll last the rest of your life, unless you drop them. Anyway, where's my 5K? This is a Shapton 5K. This is the next one on the block. I'm going to just check it is nice and level. Actually, I'm already certain it is, but hang on. Sorry. Let's see if I can put that a little bit more in the picture. That'll do. Let's make sure. Trusty pencil, too long. Yep, 3K's drying. As this is still a relatively coarse stone, I'm going to use a 4000 grit plate. If it's a very, very fine stone, I think you want a finer one. You want a 1200. Yeah, it did need a tiny bit of flattening. There is a little signature pencil line, which is now gone. So, always wash off your slurry in case you forget and you go to a finer stone, in which case you wreck the process. Right, okie dokie, let's go and put a quick edge leading 5K on all 3 razors. This is a little bit of a speed test, so do bear with me, chaps. I mean, I'm like yourself, I can't really bear watching somebody spending 45 minutes on one stone. But that has already raised a very nice signature swarf. When you see swarf like that, you know it's cut well. Now what I should do, but I'm not, I should kill the edge, but I'm doing all 3 razors today, so I'm not going to. I'm perfectly happy doing edge leading strokes. That is now a 5K edge. I'm not going to test it on the tomato, you've seen that. Let's now go on to a little German Amor, which I have very high hopes for. I'll give you a secret. The gentleman who had owned it many years ago, I'm sure, before me, he had been honing single-handedly, and of course when you hone with just one hand like that, you give tremendous extra force and extra wear on the nose of the razor, and the toe was unfortunately very biased, so I actually took an awful lot off the heel to balance it up, and I used a Dremel with a high-speed mop doused in a liberal coating of abrasive, and I actually removed some of the awful hone wear, which meant going onto the hollow ground surface of the razor, which should be a crime, but I had no choice. So now, once this tape is removed, this will actually have a pretty effective looking hone wear. Last but not least, this is the frog. This is the Officer. This is by LLYN MELLYNLLYN. It's a very, very nice razor. This is a half or quarter hollow. I wouldn't like to say exactly what it is, apart from the fact it was atrociously warped, and now it's not. So I've every hopes that this fine French razor, I don't know what steel this is, of course. If it was a TI, it would probably have been a Sheffield steel. As it is, I've no idea. But in working it, it felt pretty hard, so I'm quite happy. Anyway, this one now I'm going to call from 1K to 3K to 5K. And I don't think you need to go really mad. We're not going to get a mirror edge on any of these. You don't need it. All we need to do is just knock off the very worst of the high points of the scratches. You can get a perfectly good bevel. It's only the apex of the bevel that counts, and for that we're going to use a fine finisher anyway. So that's that. So you can see plenty of swarf. I'm using fairly heavy pressure because I want to get it done, but not mad pressure. Anyway, that's now the 5K. Here comes the Nano R 8K, which is a super fine, and I'm very happy with it. I don't really know if I'm going to bother with a slurry, but for the sake of argument, to make it quicker, I shall use the 1000 side of the grit. I'll put a couple of pencil marks just to confirm that it is flat. I'm pretty certain it was pretty flat. Yeah, it's not bad at all actually. The finer the grit, the harder it is to remove the pencil marks, because you're dealing with a much harder surface. So I'll just give this a good bit of welly. There you go. All gone. So I've got a little bit of fine 8000 grit, fine white slurry. Let's go back with a French fella. And again, I love white stones. Look at that. Three strokes with hardly any pressure. I've already got steel showing on the stone. I would say this isn't going to take a lot of work, chaps. Do bear with me. I have already mentioned this. I am slightly cheating. You know, it is a good idea with particularly with steel you're unfamiliar with. It is a good idea to kill the edge. To kill the edge on the end of the stone, one stroke, dead edge, then bring it back. But I can't be bothered. I've got too many to do. So I'm going to say, because I'm very used to these stones, and I'm very used to my method, that is now an 8K finish. I'm a firm believer you can go from bevel set to fine finish in less than 15 minutes. So this is the one with the tape. The only reason being I put such a lot of work in rectifying the atrocious homeware. This is where the gentleman barber, whoever he was, had been lathering away one-handed, and of course I put a huge amount of homeware on the toe, and I wasn't happy, because one of the reasons that I love straight razor shaving and the processes surrounding it is as a military antique restorer, I'm a bit of a precision buff when it comes to certain finishes and steels. I have spent a very large part, in fact I spent all my working life working mostly with weapons, which of course, contrary to popular belief, means that I am a kind and careful person, as those that work with computers and such insidious machinery probably aren't. Anyway, this is the final. Oh, this is a harder steel. This little American one. You know, I love American steel. This definitely has a different feedback feel to the other two. The French was about, it was okay. Alouette, gentille alouette. This one, this American Tory, is harder steel, without a doubt. It's got a totally different feel to it. So I'm hoping, as I've proved in the last few weeks, that early American blades are extremely high quality. They make very, very good shaves. Anyway, that's it, chaps. That's now, I'm calling that, judging by the amount of swarf. Edge leading, you can watch the swarf build. You can watch how much the blade is actually cutting. And of course you can feel. And although to some people 8K is still a relatively coarse stone, you can happily shave off 8K. I have many times. You can shave off an 8K edge. If you want a refined edge, which I do today, because I'm experimenting. Let's get rid of that. That's the 8K. Then we're going to go something a little bit special. We're going to go to two very unusual finishes. So I'm going to keep rabbiting on. I'm sorry, chaps. I was going to do this as a two-part, but I'm not. This is my one-part one. This is a soft, very soft, LLYN MELLYNLLYN. A LLYN MELLYNLLYN. This was almost impossible to pronounce because it's Welsh. But it is quite a fine stone. It only just fits on my stone holder. I've already worked up a fine white slurry. So this is a lovely purple stone. It's got very nice fine white slurry, and this is going to be one of our finishers. So let's go to the French and give the French fella as a final finish on this fine Welsh slate. Oh, that's smooth. Oh, that is smooth. I rather like slates. They're very underrated. They're also very cheap. Now that feels pretty good to me. So I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I don't know, it's impossible with a natural stone to rate it accurately on a grit scale, but I would say this one was a 10, possibly a 12K in comparison. But that's a lovely feel to it. Yes, the Taffies have some very fine slates up in Wales. So when they're not chasing sheep and singing in the valleys, and of course they don't dig coal anymore, that has now gone, because we've got lovely clean electric power that comes from nuclear reactors and stupid, mostly in England, offshore wind farms, which cost billions and only give about 3% of the energy need, but never mind. Anyway, that feels very nice. I'm calling that done. So that is a Welsh purple slate. Let me show you. With a very nice sticky feel now. Let's just run pure water. Let's pretend it's a coticle. Yeah, it's sticky. Very nice. Mirror finish of a Welsh slate. I've got every hope that this will be, on this French blade, a very good shave. However, as an experiment on the other two, I'm going to use something different again. So let's put this purple Welsh slate down. I've got a real treat. Look at this. This is the celebrated Tam O'Shanter razor hone. This is an original one in its wooden case with all its labels in it. I treated myself a few weeks back. I thought, no, I've got to try this. It's a little bit more narrow than I like, but it's got all the official stamps. And this one has a very, very fine speckled surface, which shows it's very high quality. Don't know how clear that is, guys. Anyway, let's take this nice taped. I'm not going to bother bringing up a slurry because we've come off quite, modestly fine stone. We've come off the 8K, and the 8K is a very nice feeling stone. This has a gorgeous feel. The Tam O'Shanter, which Mark Odham's very kindly has allowed me to use, his is a bigger stone. It's not as long as this. This has got a really nice feel. Already I'm slightly drawing up a fine white slurry paste just from the steel action. And I reckon, without checking under a microscope, I reckon that's good enough, man. Because I'm quite confident in the quality of these stones. So one more go, this time on the little Tory that had the enormous chip and has now been hopefully righted. So we're going to have two razors on a Tam O'Shanter, an antique Tam O'Shanter stone, and one on an unpronounceable Welsh slate, the Welsh LLYN. You can tell I'm not Welsh. However, I'm not going to keep you long, guys. I'm sorry this is turning out to be a 28-minute video, but it is covering 3 razors and several different techniques. So do bear with me when I finally finish off, because I can't be arsed trying to edit. I am not computer boy. I am steel boy. This feels extremely willing. I would say we're there. It's sticky, very sticky. Yeah. So we've gone from 1K, 3K, 5K, 8K to this very fine Tam O'Shanter in about 10 minutes. Bearing in mind I'm doing all 3. So we're going to shut this down. Now that is antique quality. The celebrated Tam O'Shanter razor hone. It's even got 2 little pictures. One of Alloway Kirk and one of Burns Cottage. Robbie Burns. So, next stage after this, I will show you very quickly. Let's remove the tape off this fella. I'll show you very quickly the results. There you go. This one is going to be in my opinion, a very interesting test. It's the only half to quarter hollow French blade I've ever had. So anyway, there you go, chaps. That's 3 razors brought from dead, completely dead, to ready to shave with once stropped. So I'm going to leave you in peace. This is Martin's Test Shaves on a Sunday. And I really need some lunch now. So anyway, I'm going to sign off, chaps. The next video will be me stropping then shaving with them. See you soon. Thanks for watching.